Time to find out. Is Spencer Rattler in the first round?
Is Spencer Rattler? That better be the title of the video.
Mock
Where's
draft.
Spencer Rattler?
Spencer Rattler, top 5 still? Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. It's the end of October, which means we're doing a mock draft 3.0 with the draft order as it stands right now. We're literally recording this right after Monday Night Football between the Seahawks and the Saints, and we have the draft order.
Great game.
7 weeks, man. that was a rough one to get to.
Geno
Smith. Jameis Winston, it was electric, but we got a really good mock draft for you guys right now. A lot has changed from our mock draft 2.0 and even more from our mock draft 1.0. So how we do it again, we're going to split up the teams like we always do and go through these picks, what we would do, because obviously we don't have any sources to say what teams will actually do. And it's also October. We have no idea what teams are going to do. So please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. Check out the merch store below. Get yourself some sweet merch that Tate and I are rocking right now. I believe Nick is too, if I could be wrong. Yes, he is rocking it this time. All three of us rocking it. Make sure you're rocking it too. Yoki, I know you tweeted me with your new shirt that you just bought. Thank you for supporting. Everyone else, thank you for supporting too. We love you all. Let's get into this mock draft with the first overall pick, the only winless team remaining in the NFL, and that is our former co-host, PJ Clark's Detroit Lions. Losing follows PJ every single place that he goes. I'm on the clock with the Lions. Guys, I have to do it. I've given in. I'm taking Kayvon Thibodeau, first overall, the edge from Oregon. He is now, I know we put out our big board a week ago or so. He's now my number one overall prospect because when he was hurt, I was like, okay, I'm holding off for a little bit. I said I had Aiden Hutchinson edge one because how good Aiden Hutchinson looked. But these last two games, Kayvon Thibodeau has been unblockable against Cal and now against UCLA, who has Sean Ryan, who is a good prospect too. So Kayvon Thibodeau has impressed me so much. I'm on the train of taking him first overall. I do think whoever gets the first pick will be taking Kayvon Thibodeau. So that's where I'm going with the Detroit Lions. You got Penei Sewell, the Oregon left tackle. Now you get the Oregon edge defender and Kayvon Thibodeau. So maybe when you're scouting, ask Penei Sewell, hey, man, how good is this guy? Because you go against him in practice every single day. So Kayvon Thibodeau to the Lions at number one.
Yeah, not gambling advice, but whatever the odds are for Kayvon number one overall, I think are too low right now. I think it's a lock.
Minus 110.
Not gambling advice, though.
Yeah, minus 110. Too low. I sprinkle some dollars.
Oh, okay, Max. I'm up number two, the first of three Philadelphia Eagles first-round picks in this coming draft class. And I'm going to be addressing an area of need, a big need, badly need, a sore need, whatever, sorely need.
Yeah.
Derek Stingley, hello. I hope you're alive. I hope you're healthy. He's out with a foot injury indefinitely. Has played pretty well this year. It wasn't, I guess, his freshman season, but again, he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. He is still that dude. So yes, number two overall, Derek Stingley. An excellent cornerback going to the Eagles. I know they just got Tate Gowan, the pride and joy of UCF, but Derek Stingley.
All right, Texans at 3. So I've been having like this whole discussion in my head about whether Texans should take a quarterback or not in this draft. And I've ultimately landed on no, if they do that, it's going to be David Carr all over again because they don't have good players. They need to just like take a year and just stay bad for a little bit. So I'm just going to be not concerned about Kyle Hamilton's knee injury because it doesn't seem that serious. And we're going to take him with the third pick as the best player off the board at safety. Stick him on a defense that is devoid of talent and just be bad again next year and hopefully improve a little bit through free agency and get a quarterback in a better QB class, hopefully.
Yeah, Brian Kelly just came out today and said it's not serious, but he will miss this game against UNC, which is brutal because Sam Howell versus Kyle Hamilton is going to be electric. But number 4, the Jets. I'm going to go with the guy who I said was my edge one a couple weeks ago. I still love him. Aiden Hutchinson, still a top 5 player on my board, the edge from Michigan. He has been unbelievable this year. He's a freak athlete, and I think the Jets could really, really use a good edge defender. I can't remember the last time the Jets had a good edge defender. They got Carl Lawson. I know they got that, but I would love Aiden Hutchinson in that Jets defense, and I know Robert Saleh will be really happy with this pick too.
No Tyler Linderbaum to the Jets. I know that's Jets Twitter consensus
Yep.
favorite right now. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars here, dumpster fire of an organization. Trevor Lawrence is settling in slowly but surely, despite having no help and them drafting a running back in the first, whatever. Evan Neal, hello, Alabama offensive tackle. I think this has
Hello.
been starting to get pretty consistently mocked. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Evan Neal to the Jaguars at 5. Let's get Trevor some protection.
You're up again, Tate. 6.
Oh, of course, sure, because the Eagles have just a million first-round picks. I forgot. The Eagles at 6. I'm just gonna keep speaking this one into existence. Hello, Matthew Corral. Welcome to the mock. Spoken at length about him many times. Check out all of our videos previously because I just bring him up constantly. And yeah, I have an Eagles jersey swap already, an image of Matthew Corral in an Eagles jersey, and I'm just going to be probably retweeting this video when we send it out on Twitter with that. So yes, Matthew Corral to 6, Eagles, yes.
All right, 7 with the Giants, and I'm going to go with a guy who I know Jets fans want, but I'm keeping him in New York, though. Tyler Linderbaum, the center for Iowa. I do think Linderbaum has been unbelievable this year. Still the best center in the country. He's been the best center in the country for like 3 years in a row now. He has been absurd. The best interior offensive line prospect we've seen since Quentin Nelson. And they got Billy Price starting at center right now in New York, which, Tate, I'm sorry, but Billy Price, not very good for the Giants. So I'm going to be putting Tyler Linderbaum on that Giants offensive line with Andrew Thomas, who looks better. Daniel Jones can maybe have another good year, and we'll see. We'll see if they want to pay him or not. I don't know yet, but
franchise guy.
I'm going Linderbaum to the Giants. Now I have the Jets pick at 8 via Seattle, and I know Jets fans are probably really upset that Linderbaum I just took to the Giants, their neighbor. But I'm going to go with a pick I think that Robert Saleh would again love, and that is Kyer Elam, the corner from Florida. Obviously, you're kind of out of the Derek Stingley Jr. sweepstakes. I kind of wanted him at 4 if he fell, but Tate took him at 2. Kyer Elam's a really good consolation prize, I think, at number 8 overall. Still the second best corner in this draft. Still definitely a top 10 player in this draft, and a big, big need for the Jets. So I think Kyer Elam and Aiden Hutchinson, man, I'm really happy with this haul for the Jets.
So at 9, the Washington football team, who just, it doesn't really matter if they're going to take, they're going to be bad. They got to take a quarterback this year. They kind of have to force quarterback this year because it's year 3 of Rivera, and like, if they don't take a quarterback, then what are we doing? I don't know, man. Then we know we're not trading all of our picks for Aaron Rodgers because the organization is just so against that now since the RG3 thing happened. So Malik Willis, I think, Malik Willis is going to be the guy Ron Rivera falls in love with, regardless of who's on the board. I think he would take him above Matt Corral because I think the physical tools is what he's into. I think he loves that he's a big football guy. I think they loved Trey Lance last year. I think Willis compares similarly. And we'll see. I don't know. He's got to be developed. They got to throw him in there behind a good offensive line with a few weapons, and maybe they surround him with more talent with free agency money. They still have some more. They need to sign Terry. I don't know, man. Poor Malik if he ends up in Washington, but
It's been a rough year for Nick, if you can't tell.
It's not great.
Down and out Washington football team fan. Got the Dolphins here at 10. I'm going Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle, NC State. I think this is the highest he's gone in any of our mock drafts
Love it.
to date. He's an absolute killer in the run game. Good pass blocker. That offensive line in Miami desperately needs help. Tua needs protection. Austin Jackson is still not performing. Lee Meikenberg, despite me liking him, is not up to snuff. So yes, they need help on that offensive line, and that's what I'm addressing here.
Man, they really could use Penei Sewell, huh? But yes, Ikem Ekwonu, I love top 10. Top 10 Ikem Ekwonu, feed me that, Tate. I love that. 11, Patriots. Let's go with Garrett Wilson, receiver from Ohio State. I still think he's the best receiver in this class, despite Drake London burning the world down, basically. But I think Garrett Wilson, look, when you look for a receiver as a prospect, you want to look for basically one massive thing, and that is separation. And Garrett Wilson separates better than literally every receiver in college football. And he's an all-around really good receiver, too. Like, his body control is really good. His good athleticism. I think this is a receiver that Mac Jones is going to love in that offense. They desperately need receiver help. So I like getting Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 1, to the Patriots here at 11.
Good fit there. Broncos at 12. They don't need anything, so I'm just kind of again forcing quarterback here. Sam Howell's on the board. I mean, Howell's the type of guy I don't mind this early in the draft, but I think he probably ends up going a little bit later. But the Broncos are kind of just stuck in a spot where it's like, where maybe interior O-line, they might need a right tackle. Outside of that, like linebacker's pretty good, safety's great, corner's good. You have your edge players, your interior D-line's good, your receivers are stacked. You have tight end now. You got to take a quarterback, and Sam Howell's the type of guy that's going to thrive if you have good players around him, and guess what? He's got good players around him. So this is a team that with anybody who's like some semblance of competent at QB probably makes this a playoff team. So Sam Howell, let's go. Let's do it.
Ayo, it's the Eagles once again, the third first-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Thought about it a couple of different ways I could go with this one, but I decided that a certain positional group that I have already addressed needs help, seriously needs help. So hello, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner to Philadelphia, going with Derek Stingley. Folks, that's going to be a no-fly zone in Philadelphia for a couple of years if that happens, because those two dudes are lockdown corners to the definition of it. Ahmad Gardner has played very well this year for Cincinnati, who are obviously very highly ranked. So yes, Philadelphia taking Ahmad Gardner at 13.
Dude, Sauce Gardner, Stingley, and Matt Corral. That is
I'm in love.
I would buy the jersey of every single one of them if I'm the Eagles. Like that is a sexy draft class.
You're not just going to stick Gardner at corner and convert Stingley to wide receiver?
He's a two-way player. He's playing both every down.
Do you remember that? That was like, oh my God, he's gonna play receiver. He could be a receiver and corner. He's played nothing. Like he hasn't played a single snap, I think, at receiver. Oh man, what a time!
Too much
what a
hype.
time when we thought Stingley was gonna play receiver and Rattler was QB1. What a time August was.
And we were worried that Stingley was gonna get hurt playing receiver, and then he just goes and gets hurt playing cornerback.
Don't worry. He can't get hurt if he doesn't play now, though.
True.
Maybe that's what he'll do in Philly. He just won't play and then he won't get hurt.
Oh man, this season's been so weird. Nick, I think you're up at 14.
Yeah. So the Panthers kind of catch the unfortunate. Oh, the QBs are off the board, and we have Sam Darnold and PJ Walker. So maybe we'll do something. Maybe they'll trade for Deshaun. I don't know. Don't trade for Deshaun. I don't know, man. Don't do that, please. No one do that. I really like Nicholas Petit-Frere. He keeps moving up my board. He's just very solid. He's been great this year for Ohio State. That offense continues to produce, and I think that their O-line being solidified has been big, and having him at left tackle has been a big part of that. So I think he's one of the safer picks, I think, in this draft offensively. And the Panthers O-line is just a nightmare. So we're going to stick him in there and give them something that should not be a turnstile.
So here at 15 with the Giants, I took Linderbaum with the first pick at 7. And I know Giants fans are probably thinking, man, we need edge so badly. Well, luckily for you, one of my top edges and a top 10 player on my board fell here to 15, Nick Bonito, the edge from Oklahoma. Now, he is undersized. He's about 240 pounds, which I know. You have Azeez Ojulari, who's also around that range, and Nick Bonito. Those are two undersized edges, but I love both of them as pass rushers. And Nick Bonito has been the best pass rusher in the country, full stop, the last 2 years. And I think that'll translate the next time. I know a lot of people have concerns with his size. I mean, if you're that good, man, like when you're dominating at that level, like I will overlook that size, obviously not completely, but like that says a lot for me. And he's still a top 15 pick, in my opinion, in this draft. And I think the Giants would be really happy with him here at 15.
And if you look at purely at win rate, the last like 2-3 seasons, Azeez and Bonito have like clearly far and away been the best edge rushers in the country. So that would be an insane pair.
Azeez has been good this year too for the Giants. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Fun pairing, not for me, but for them, sure. Chiefs, two big things: edge and wide receiver 2. Clearly not having a wide receiver 2, not being able to go 30 deep at pass catcher outside of Kelsey and Hill has hurt their offense. Patrick Mahomes just running around trying to make things happen, and it's not working. He looks like college Mahomes right now. So we're going to give them another receiver. We're going to get Chris Olave, and we're going to burn the world down. It's going to be fantastic, and the Chiefs are going to try and win every game, first to 45 wins. And, that's where the NFL is going, so they'll be there first. It works out.
Chiefs at 16. What a weird sight that is.
It hurts my brain.
It's definitely strange.
Atlanta Falcons checking in at 17 now. Chris Olave, I thought about it if he was still here, but that defense in Atlanta still needs addressing. So I'm going edge. Kingsley Enagbari. Hello, I even have the pronouncer right out, and I still botched it. That's just who I am. So yeah, he has been excellent for South Carolina. I don't know if he's 100% the scheme fit. I think he's a better scheme fit than Nick Benito, so I'm glad I got Kingsley and not Benito here. But he's been excellent for South Carolina, like I said, and it's just a total monster in the pass rush game. So helps out the team and get some sacks, eh?
All right, here 18. Falcons and Steelers have a lower pick than the Chiefs, like we all expected. So Steelers here 18. They need offensive line help, and Ikem Ekwonu, I never thought he would fall to 18, but I love that fit for Pittsburgh if they can get him. I'm going to go with a guy that I'm a little hesitant about, but I kind of think the reason why he hasn't been amazing this year is because Texas A&M is kind of screwing him. That's Kenyon Green, the guy who I think will be playing offensive tackle in the NFL. But man, Texas A&M this year has literally played him at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. This guy has played all across the offensive line. Literally every single game, he's playing a different position on the offensive line. I know we were so excited to see Kenyon Green and Kingsley Enagbari in that South Carolina game. And of course, they put him at left guard, where he's not going to see Kingsley Enagbari, which we were very upset about. But I still like Kenyon Green a lot. Like I said, I think the Aggies are kind of screwing his stock right now because of how much they're moving him around that line. But I'm taking Kenyon Green here, and I'm trusting that the traits will translate to the next level.
Sticking with Texas A&M, I don't think. I mean, this guy's definitely slipped down all of our boards, but I don't think there's a team that will be more in love with DeMarvin Leal than the Minnesota Vikings. He just completely fits their. This guy is gigantic and he plays edge mold, which has been their mold with edge players in the past. I wouldn't be shocked if they moved him up and down the line. If they drafted him, they play that natural 4-3 and he could fit into that. But they need pass rush help, and he is just the prototypical guy they look for when they look for pass rushers. So I think that is just about as good of a fit as I'm going to have in this draft, probably.
Also, pretty good value for 19. That a guy that's
good.
probably a top 15 player in this draft. The Browns are up at 20. A bunch of different ways I thought about it here. Maybe linebacker because that positional group is still even with Jock, and it's been improved from last year. I don't think we go corner again, even though that group is still kind of meh and just always hurt. Could go edge rusher like I think I have in the past 2 mock drafts. I think I did George Karlaftis in the last mock draft. And I haven't been on the let's trade OBJ train of the Browns fan base. But for this theoretical mock draft, I'm going to say that the Browns have traded Odell Beckham Jr., gotten rid of his contract, and will be drafting Drake London, USC wide receiver who has been elite this year, is setting on the same pace as Devontae Smith was on his Heisman year last year. His numbers are insane. He's at like 15 targets a game or more. And he just makes highlight reel catches week in and week out. And as a Browns fan, I would love to see him in our offense. So, yes, Drake London to Cleveland.
Bills here at 21, who I think will be picking a lot lower than this when the draft actually comes around. But here they are at 21. And I know A.J. Epinesa has looked really good this year. And I know that they drafted Gregory Rousseau in the first round last year, and he's also looked this year. He's looked pretty good. I'm still going to take George Karlaftis here, the edge from Purdue, just because I think that Buffalo defensive line, you can kind of shuffle them around. I think A.J. Epinesa was a guy that coming out of Iowa, we were like, okay, you can play D tackle or edge, move him across that line. He's got great power. I think if you want to do that, you could put Rousseau can play on the interior too, as we've seen in the past at Miami. Karlaftis has the power that can maybe go inside for a little bit. So I think this is a defensive line that you can just shuffle around in Buffalo, make a lot of headaches for offensive lines. So I like Karlaftis to fit in Buffalo. Just get a lot of powerful defensive linemen in there. It doesn't have to be, don't have to designate them as D tackles or edges. Like just put them on the linemen and let them attack.
And they've got Jerry Hughes, of course, and I think Boogie Basham's actually been not bad this year as well.
So about him. Another big one, another big D lineman.
Just a ridiculous amount of edge depth there, and it's working for them. And I this is one of my takes this year is I think edge depth is kind of the is going to be the pushing point for teams. You're seeing teams like the Bills use that to their advantage, and teams like Washington really struggle because they don't have the rotation anymore after losing a guy like Ryan Kerrigan. Chargers, kind of like Tate's thing with the Browns. Mike Williams has been a big part of this offense this year, like huge. Him and Justin Herbert really have great chemistry, but I don't think he's going to be back. Because I think he's going to be asking for a lot of money, and I don't know the Chargers are going to cough it up considering they're already paying Keenan Allen and a few other guys. So let's go replace him with the guy in Treylon Burks, who I think can do similar things in this offense. But along with that, kind of creates a more modern feel to this offense that I think Brendan Staley will be looking for. He's a guy you can motion a little bit, maybe give him the ball in handoffs, create a little more of that jet motion action that they looked for. Probably used Allen on a little bit. You can use him less on that and just have him kind of, isolate as a receiver more and use Treylon Burks as that type of player. The Chargers definitely are looking to upgrade, I think, on their offensive weapons. Jared Cook's been fine. I don't think he'll be back next year. I think it's kind of a stopgap thing, but they need to continue to feed Herbert with good players because he right now is kind of keeping them afloat outside of a few other things they've done to gain benefit with their roster. Their strength right now is throwing the football, and they definitely need that position to be strong.
All right, I got the Saints at 23. All of the wide receivers that are normally consensus first-round picks are all gone at this point, which is awful news for the New Orleans Saints. But lucky for them, they still have positions of need. And one of those is cornerback. I'm going Trent McDuffie, who I believe I mocked in our last mock draft, so I won't talk too much more on him, but he's been very good in 2020. He had a small sample size in 2019. He's an excellent run defender, excellent tackler. He plays a majority of zone. I think a lot of his interceptions are a little deceiving, if I remember correctly, because they're just wildly misplaced throws, and he just kind of like lucks into them, but he still forces incompletions at a good rate, and is also, like I mentioned, a very good run defender. So I think there's a lot of upsides to him, and he can help out that defense in a couple different ways. So yes, Trent McDuffie at 23 to the Saints.
Yeah, stole my pick because I was going to take McDuffie to the Cowboys, who I thought really would have fit that defense well. I'm going to stay in the secondary, though, and I think the Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs has been good. I think it's been overrated how good Trayvon Diggs has been. I'll say that much. But I do think he's been good this year. The Cowboys' safeties, man, have still been a big problem. Like Damontae KZ has not looked good at all. I mean, if you remember that Patriots play when Diggs got burned, I know a lot of people talk about Diggs. That was one of the worst plays I've ever seen a safety make. Like Damontae KZ just like came down and tried to make the hit and was like 3 yards away from the receiver. Like it was horrible. So I think they have a big need at safety. Jaron Kearse has played well this year, but I don't love that either. I'm going to go with the guy I'm going to go back-to-back Penn State for the Dallas Cowboys after taking Micah Parsons in the first round last year. I'm going Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Penn State this year, who was very close to ending the game against Illinois. I'm not going to go on an Illinois tangent right now, but he dropped the interception. It was a very rainy game, but I still love you, Jaquan. I still think he and Jordan Battle, I think, have a really, really interesting debate for safety, too, right now behind Kyle Hamilton. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to debate those two. But I like Jaquan Brisker a lot, top 20 player on my board, and Dallas really needs safety help. So get him there with Micah Parsons and just become the Nittany Lion defense.
Homer.
Really
okay.
Sorry. To talk about the Illinois game.
Don't
he
get me
brought it
started
up, not us.
He really wanted to talk about it.
You don't have to get me started.
He's struggling right now. He's having a tough time, and we all feel for him.
Thoughts and prayers, please, if you have them.
That's the way it is, man.
Yeah, it was a real shame Penn State lost.
Yeah,
Let's wait until this week, Tate. Just wait until this week.
And Tate's giving his hopes up, despite the fact that they're all just going to get pummeled by Alabama anyways. Titans at 25. Their O-line isn't good and doesn't matter because Derrick Henry is the exception to the running back rule. But, you need pass protection still. And Dylan Radins hasn't really filled in yet at right tackle. So we're going to take Darian Kinnard here, who could end up playing guard. I think would be an upgrade at some point for them, or maybe play right tackle for the Titans. But I think it is in their best interest to continue to invest in that offensive line as it pertains to their offense being so run-heavy and play-action dependent. And Kinnard has just been one of the more consistent forces this year in college. So I'm big on him, and I think that would be a good fit there in Tennessee.
All right, I got the Cincinnati Bengals picking 26 overall. That's right. You heard it here right. So for those little bit of a deep cut, Logan Wilson got drafted by the Bengals 2 years ago. If you were around 2 years ago when we were under a different name before we had all of our content deleted, just a long story. I was in love with Logan Wilson. And you know what? I'm just gonna keep on running that back. Nakobe Dean, linebacker Georgia, who I've spoken about before. His play speed is just amped up to 1,000,000. He comes downhill so hard. He can rush the passer. He can play in the run game. He's showing coverage ability this year, which we weren't sure about coming into the year. Just so many things to like about Nakobe Dean. He's going to line up alongside Logan Wilson, and that linebacker core I'm just going to be gushing about for just ever. So yeah, Nakobe Dean, Cincinnati.
How about second round, get Chad Muma, another Wyoming linebacker in there who's been killing it.
I have him. I think I might be the highest on him, but I would also be in love with that. So yes, sure.
27 Tampa. The only position they really are like average at, I guess, is their second safety position outside of Antoine Winfield Jr. So we're gonna give him Jordan Battle here. Battle again. We talked about the safety 2 debate between him and Brisker. Actually, they're kind of similar players. I think Battle, you're more likely to have matchup and man-to-man, but Brisker is more athletic, more instinctive, in my opinion. So I'd kind of lean Brisker as safety 2 right now, but it's an interesting debate. But Battle certainly could fit in for Tampa, and him and Antoine Winfield Jr. would create a lot of versatility in that secondary and do a lot of fun things that the team that's already doing a lot of fun things on defense has. So that team's so good. Like I don't even. It's fine. Have another great safety prospect. Whatever. That's what it is.
Man, giving Tampa Bay one of your favorite prospects, like that is tough. The Lions here with the second pick from the Rams. After giving them Kayvon Thibodeau, at the risk of sounding like a homer again, I'm taking Jahan Dotson, the receiver from Penn State.
Homer.
I listen, man. I think they desperately need receiver help. I was debating Dotson against the guy that's going to be taken next here. Just a little tease, but I like Jahan Dotson a little bit more. He's been really good for Penn State, kind of just keeping that offense afloat. But yeah, I think he's been really good all-around receiver. And Detroit, dear God, they need receiver help. So I think this is the next best one.
Raiders at 29. Thought about QBs, but Derek Carr has been excellent, actually. And QB happy coach not to be named is gone. So I don't think that's going to happen. We'll go corner. They've been looking for corners since I was born. So we'll continue to do that. Roger McCreary in Auburn has shown a little bit of versatility on the outside. He's been consistent for a couple of years now. Has matched up against some good SEC wide receivers. And actually would probably be one of the safer defensive back picks we've seen this team make since I was born. So hopefully they actually do this. I would like to see this pick.
Who will they take? Who is the prospect do you think that they just will be head over heroes? Like Spencer Rattler? That could be the pick, maybe. Oh well, yeah. Well, he's gone. Mayok's still there. Mayock is still there. Who would Mayock just be falling in love with? This is probably just
they need another running back, don't they?
Kenneth Walker the third? Maybe get him in there, spice it up a little bit.
Who is like a Raiders prospect?
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis is a Raiders prospect.
And the thing is, everyone will love that too.
Brandon Joseph is a Raiders prospect. Brandon Joseph, the safety that 2 years ago made a ton of big plays. I could see them like trading up to take Brandon Joseph.
They only draft Clemson or Bama guys, so Christian Harris I think is the Raiders draft pick.
Justin Ross, maybe.
Actually, is also
Christian Harris is a great call. That's a great call.
That's a good call.
Anyways, getting this mock draft back on track, back on the train tracks. 30. We got the Green Bay Packers up at 30. Can't say I didn't think about quarterback. Is that wrong of me? Probably. But I'm going to go wide receiver. Devontae Adams seems to be out the door. Outside of him, everybody's been just fine or kind of bad. Sorry, Amari Rodgers. Sorry, Randall Cobb. I like both of you, but whatever. And I think I've mocked him in all three mocks. Hello, George Pickens. How you doing? He was doing some warm-ups before the Auburn game on the field, so he's getting closer and closer to returning to full game speed. Yeah, I'm a George Pickens guy. I've said this before. I think he offers just a lot in terms of yak ability, athletic ability, route running ability, separation ability, yada yada. So yeah, George Pickens, 30 Packers.
All right, 31 here. The Baltimore Ravens. I think they still need. They're kind of like the Bills, where it's like they just get edges on that team, man. And their defense and Don Wink Martindale is going to figure it out. Odafe Owe has been really good for Baltimore this year, and a lot of people were worried about him. They're like, "Oh, he's athletic, yeah, but like he didn't get any sacks." I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like get pressures, and that's what he did at Penn State, and he's proven to do it now. Drake Jackson, another athletic edge who we all had serious concerns about. We were like, man, this guy is awesome when it's on, but it is off consistently. This year has been pretty on, and I think Drake Jackson with that athleticism is worth a first-round pick now. And I think in Baltimore's defense next to Odafe Owe, that is a lot of fun and pretty terrifying for my Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Baltimore Ravens, Drake Jackson, I think that'll be a really fun pick for Baltimore.
And we're going to end on the Arizona Cardinals here. I'm going to take Charles Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State. Kind of a value pick at this point. The Cardinals' offensive line has been terrible, but again, it's been so important just based on how they play football. It's actually more of a run-heavy team than people think it is, especially with Kyler Murray. And I think Cross, my one issue with him coming out is kind of size and athleticism concerns. But he's going to be helped by the fact that Kyler Murray is perhaps one of the best scrambling and elusive in the pocket type of quarterbacks in the NFL. Which can give him time to develop and probably end up playing right tackle there in Arizona, taking over for Kelvin Beachum. I think that that is a position group they have kind of not addressed and gotten away with it, and I think this is kind of the year they need to start looking at it, because eventually when you're just average at a position and you're trying to hold out, it takes, after a few years, it starts falling off, and I think they could be getting to that point. So I'd like to see them address that position soon.
Yeah, watch his tape against Texas A&M, because he went against Leal, and he won that battle consistently against DeMarvin Leal. So, yeah, Charles Cross liked that a lot. So this is what we got for our mock draft 3.0. Going to do it after every single month. So, obviously, next month's mock draft will hopefully get like a pretty solid draft order of what you're going to see. Obviously, this is very fluid, and the prospects are very fluid, too. So, please continue to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, @BoomOrBustDraft. Hit the merch stores and get the sweet sweatshirt and other stuff that we got in that merch store as well. So for Tate Sigworth and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.